Check it out. We're out here at Manheim Auction Dallas, and these guys have auctions like this all over the world. But John Clay knows what's going on, and you see me do some things with him. He's the guy from Give Me the VIN, and all of these crazy classic cars and some of these custom new cars that you're looking at are all his. It's my understanding that he went to an undisclosed location and bought a lot of this stuff, and bought it all. As in 41 or 45 vehicles. It's everything from old Impalas and Biscaynes to 57 Chevys. I see a 58 Pontiac out there, power wagons, Corvettes, and Lord knows what's inside. And he paid a lot of money. I kind of know what I think it is, and I kind of know what the average is, but he's going to sell these things on Wednesday the 18th at no reserve. Talk about some huevos, some balls. So this is the big time buy you've been telling me about.
Yeah.
Don't look so down, man. You're supposed to make money on this.
It's exciting. It's just nerve-wracking. I mean, it's just a lot of money.
How many units?
43.
43 units. And they're all it's supposed to be perfect cars. We'll look at them, but you still got a ton outside.
Right.
Are you driving them through?
There's 6 more that are not here yet. The Z06 big tank car will be here Friday.
That's a 63.
Right.
Z06 big tank.
So 1 of 50. And it had export papers on it because it went to Canada, which was crazy rare option also. One of the big Corvette dealers in the country, collectors, wanted the export papers, and we had them. And then there's VIN number 5, which is in 53 when they built they built the first Corvettes, the prototypes, and then when they actually started VIN stamping them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got the 5th built Corvette in the world, and I know that 2 of those have been destroyed, and maybe 3. So this is either the 3rd or the 4th. The 2nd or the 3rd oldest Corvette in planet Earth.
For a guy that's stringing out this much money, your math's a little off today.
What did I do wrong?
This is a lot, but yeah. So that'd be in the first 5 Corvettes,
yep.
And maybe in the top 3 that are left in the first 5.
Right.
That's a big car, and I'm sure that the documentation is bulletproof.
It is absolutely bulletproof. And that car, that number 4 car, number 5 car, that number 5 car, you can look up and see where it sold at Barrett about, I think, 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm. What did it bring in?
$450,000.
Oh, it's got to be stronger now. I hope.
I've got a guy hitting at $650, claiming he's going to bid that. I'm going to sell it. I hope it brings more than that. Because
now, are you running this all at no reserve?
Pretty close. We're going to run it the way we always
specials.
do. Yeah. There'll be a couple of cars that we miss just because they might vapor lock. But other than that, I sell my stuff.
I know. I've seen you up there with your gavel in the command tower here going, sell that bitch!
Sell that bitch, sell that bitch, sell that bitch, let's go.
Oh, I don't know if anybody
this is
knows
a
as much
Fuelie.
as Dennis.
So how many of them were Fuelies?
This is a...
I've got to get my list. It looks like a 57 to me.
GMTV.com.
No, GMTV Garage. We whipped together a special site just for these.
What?
Yep.
Now you got website, you got travel on all these cars.
1957 Vette convertible. I don't know. It's a Fuelie, right? So were they all Fuelies? Or
No. Fuelie was an option, and I actually have a new old stock of that exact Fuelie unit in my shop, just laying on a shelf somewhere. I bought it in a collection of some other stuff. But I'm not as strong on Corvettes as I probably should be. Mm-hmm. And the Fuelie thing to me that I've watched is always it's rare, but oh my God, is it temperamental? So you got to understand it and see how to make it work and everything else like that. But a lot of people out there, especially the young kids, are like, oh, I want a fuel-injected V8, blah, 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 mm-hmm. From 1998. And it's they've been doing it since 57
in this case, right.
And what have you. So fuel injection's not that brand new. But it's a beautiful car.
Well, do you know what you would take for your fuel inject? Do you just have the fuel injection?
I just have the injection set up, and it's probably a loan worth somewhere between $12,000 and $20,000, depending on if they need it.
See, this is where we're talking. This is where it gets weird. So that part, no numbers matching, no nothing, could be $12,000 to $20,000 for an uninstalled part.
Yeah, but if you need it, say you have a fuel vet and all the numbers check out, and you don't have the system, it's not like you're going to run out to the local auto parts store and say, give me some fuel injection.
Right.
I mean, this is a pretty special unit. This is more of a 58.
Let me see. I'll tell you exactly what it is. 58. Richard, you do know something.
Yeah.
Will you grab this out of the hood and we'll pick
Yes,
her
sir.
up? There it is. Okay, so that's the exact same setup. Now, when it says 250 here, is that 250 horse?
It may. I mean, small block V8 back then would have been 250. But I mean, this
Look at
is
the bolts,
overly restored.
Right.
This is whoever restored this knew what they were doing.
And to get a resto done like this, not counting the car, what would you expect the bill to be?
If I was going to do a resto like this in my shop, it would be 250 minimum. And this is simple stuff, other than the fuel injection. But to get it to this level, it'd be 250 easy.
I was figuring 3. So we're talking the same. And that's not buying the car.
No, that's not the car.
Right.
And that's if the car doesn't need a bunch. If this had to have, any kind of floors or fiberglass repair and all, that's above that. You got to start with a good car, garbage in, garbage out, which I've looked on your site, and these are some phenomenal vehicles, dude. Well, 53 was the first year. Second year was 54. They didn't have a lot of differences. And then in 55, they went to the V8. So, I don't know, man.
Look at my monkeys over there beating out dents on an Escalade. But again, this resto, it's not as good as that one, but it's pretty damn good.
It's a
And
great car.
I've got all the NCRS records and this and that. And
Well, I got on the site and I saw that you've got pretty bulletproof documentation on almost everything. I mean, obviously the guy that collected this cars knew what he was doing, and he was buying good stuff with good records and good, paperwork and the right stuff.
So this is another fuel injected rig. So this is like when the C1 and C2 started having a baby, because the back looks a little more C2.
It's like a 62.
It's a 62, exactly.
Okay.
Right. So the ass end on this one starts morphing into the C2 here.
Well, see, you're not saying it quite right. Okay. You got to say, for the model year 1962, that's when they brought this in here. And if you were to not have this paint on there, you'd see where they blended the fiberglass fender onto the top boards. It's bullshit.
Would you like some coffee? We could walk over and get some. So this is a 53.
Now, 53 is pretty cool because it's the first year. And how many 53s are there? Like 500 and something or 600?
Something like that. We've got VIN number 5 that'll be here tomorrow.
So this isn't VIN 5. This is number 243.
And then they got with GM and they made 2 more Vettes in different generations that are white, red, 243 on the end, and we've got all 3 of them. So we've got a trifecta of 243.
Is there a reason for 243? Did the guy?
I think it just. I think that a guy that had this one to begin with asked them to do it, and if you go to the on our site, it tells the story. I forgot it specifically, but I do know there's 3 white red Roadsters, and they're all 243, and it was meant to be that way by General Motors, and we have all 3.
That's really cool. The Bandit cars, I know a lot about these because I work with Dave Hall at Restore Muscle Car, and this is basically a redone Camaro, but they had a company fired up for a while that were making these, and they did a phenomenal job. I mean, the way that they made the fiberglass front ends and the T-tops and everything else, I mean, if they would have made a Trans Am, this would have been it. I mean, it's freaking cool. I don't care what anybody says.
It sold at Barrett like 2 years ago for $160 or $70.
I think that's too cheap.
Well, be here Wednesday the 18th, and you can buy it for less than that.
I believe this to be a 69.
I think you're
And
right.
if Daddy's correct, it's a 427, 435 horse 4-speed. If you were smoking Marlboros and carrying a jug of whiskey and driving down the road with a gold chain through the school zones in 1969, this is what you were going to be driving.
68. If
Okay.
matters. But so what? Was there any difference?
There's not really any difference in the visual, I don't think.
Right.
But
But if you notice, everything he's got was 4-speed, which is perfect. I mean, I don't know if there's an automatic in the boat.
oh, yeah, no. Automatic versus 4-speed for you young kids out there. See, there used to be 3 pedals in a car, and you'd push one in, and then you'd change gears so that you could go faster and stuff like that. And now everything's just step on the gas and hope for the best. This is when you actually had to drive a car, not just ride in it.
That is one of the prettiest ones, and I know nothing about it.
Well,
It's a Bonneville.
It's a Bonneville 58. It's fuel injected, and it's beautiful, and to restore this car is worse than restoring any of these Corvettes or Mustangs or anything you have anywhere in this collection, because there's not a lot of this. I mean, as a matter of fact, there's very few of this. So you're not just calling,
you know, any parts.
Parts are rough. This one's a factory AC car, which is super, super rare. And then look at all the chrome work, man.
Right.
I mean, if anybody wants one of these cars, this will be the best deal in the world, because as opposed to a Corvette, which is standard stuff and you can get it and you can restore and whatever, this car is almost twice the money to restore.
Okay.
I mean, if you came to me with a nice one of these and you said, I want it perfect like this, I'd be $400, $450.
Ooh.
Well, they don't make any of this stuff.
You'd have to manufacture everything you could.
You'd have to come up with it. You'd have to find it from a used car. You'd have to refurb it. I mean, this is a bad dude. The only problem is, if you ask for my teaching moment, this shit's kind of dying off a little bit.
And you're right. You're right. The market for these is not there, but these great ones, I still have a little confidence in, because this is a great one.
You couldn't restore this car for $400.
And we can jump from this to this. Here's another great one. This is a 53.
You know me in blue, though. I'm not a big blue fan.
Yeah, but God, look at this beast, dude. What's it called? A Series 63? Series
62, 63.
Yeah.
You know, 220,
Lights
210,
on.
whatever it takes.
Yeah, I mean, everything. It's like they're better than they were when they were new.
I can probably guarantee you they are. You know, I sold a 55 Chevrolet Bel Air convertible one time that was supposed to be the lowest mile one known in existence. Had like 6,000 miles on it. Guy had all the paperwork when he bought it new. He had all the oil changes he'd ever done, all the batteries he had ever bought, everything from the original owner. And some of the keyboard whippers out there got real mad at me, and they're like, oh, that's BS, you know, look at the paint, it doesn't match, look at this, look at that. And I sent it to a big auction down in Houston, and we ended up setting the world record. I think it sold for like 160 or something like that, but this was like 20 years ago. And the fact is I found a guy, because we live, you know, we're here real close to Arlington.
Sure.
And I found a guy that was on the assembly line at General Motors plant where that car specifically was built, and still had his pay stub. And he walked up and he goes, it's my pay stub from 1954, you know, or it would have been, 54. And I'll tell you all the points on this car that people are picking on. He goes, the reason this and this don't match because they were painted in two different buildings, 2 different days. He goes, never didn't match when they came out of the factory. This screw over here, you know, blah. This thing over here, blah. And he goes, so this is the realest car I've ever seen since I was putting them together in the 50s. It was like, holy cow. So, you know, it's fun time to watch all this stuff.
This is actually George Jones' truck.
George Jones?
Yeah, he had it restored. It came with a signed guitar. I put it in my studio. This was George's truck. He's on the front of the title. We kept it that way.
Where did this truck last sell, or do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think he bought it privately. I think he bought it from George.
But then again,
Hey,
I don't know, man. See, this is where, and I'm privy to a little bit of what you got going on and what you did. This is where the average messes with me, because George Jones, great. It was owned by George Jones, but how many
George Jones fans are still alive?
Yeah, exactly. And then also, how many want a 5-window regular old Chevy truck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
With possum crap all over it.
Oh, I didn't even see that. The Possum Holler Garage. You ever heard one of those things holler?
I thought
it's annoying.
If anybody wanted to start a new gas monkey and compete with Richard, I suggest you name your company this.
Possum Holler Garage. Get you some of that. Dude, we're not going to be able to walk and look at everything, but I mean, look at this 442. Now, this is a pretty car. This is all Richard right here. Black on black, 4-speed.
One of 22, I'm told.
Well, this car's got to bring 150.
Whatever the high bid is, showing 79 miles. I'm trying to remember if this one's been restored or if it was original. It can't be original.
Can't be.
It just can't.
If it's unrestored, that would be absolute. It would be the best one in the freaking world.
What is a telltale for us to look for to know, besides it's too nice? It's too nice to be that old. I mean, it would have to be in a museum in an air bubble all these years to be this.
It's too nice. It's too perfect. The way the carpets fit, the way everything looks. I don't know. But if the paperwork's there, the paperwork's there.
It's got the Hearst shifter. It's perfect.
I've seen these cars bring insane money, like 500 grand.
This car sold at Barrett like 10 or 15 years ago for $270.
Yeah, it's got the swivel buckets. Chrysler and Dodge, I love them because they push the envelope.
What's DeSoto?
It's the same thing. Chrysler, Dodge, DeSoto. You know, they all kind of morphed into themselves.
Did Chrysler buy DeSoto?
Shit.
You don't remember either.
Hey, if you're out there watching this, go in there and see where the DeSoto came from. I have no idea, and I really don't care. But I've seen, you know, these cars bring stupid money. I mean, this was crazy designs back in the day.
This was the Rolls Royce of its day.
Yeah, I'd drive it, but I'd put air ride on it and gold wheels. What?
Push button.
Yeah, it had the push button transmission.
This is pretty pimp.
It is, but it's just like, who's collecting this stuff these days?
I guess I am.
Well, no, you're not collecting. You're buying and selling.
So here's C2 World, and I need to get more specs on these cars.
Well, you know what? I'm going to lend you a hand because you're good friends with our boy Dennis also. Mm-hmm. You bring him down here, and if you've ever watched his show Coffee Walk, he will tell you where the sand that made this glass was manufactured at and where it was harvested from. He knows everything. He's the smartest guy in the car business I've ever met. He's great. So if you want to really know, I would call Dennis. I know value, I know about what I see, and I know the averages, but you know.
If you're a dealer, you need to get down here and check this stuff out. And if you aren't a dealer, find a dealer friend that will come down here and buy it for you. Pay him $1,000, pay him $5,000, pay him $10,000, because I can tell you, you will never get better deals on this kind of merchandise than what we're going to do.
What's up? Cold Garage Beer, that's what's up. No, I just got back from Manheim Dallas, where John Clay is selling like 40 or 50 super nice classics, a lot of killer vets, all kinds of things from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even some new stuff. Wednesday, December 18th, 1 week from today, this car's got to be there.
Okay, so that's that collection he just bought?
Yep, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit it there. So I can't tell you guys and gals out there enough. No reserve on almost all of them. Some of these cars are some of the nicest vets and things I've ever seen. And now I'm sending my prized and cherished 61 Impala bubble top, 427, 4-speed, triple black. And it's going to go out there and we're going to sell it. So get online at johnclaywolfshow.com and figure it out, because you're going to want to see this.